Hey honey buns, and what is up? Today we are going to be making a cozy warm snuggie for the holiday season. So grab your scissors and let's get started. Honey Bun TV. Okay, honey buns, everything you're going to need is going to be listed in the description box below. Today, I am using 2 Luxe Collection blankets that I got from Five Below, but you can use the fabric of your choice, as well as some scissors, measuring tape, elastic, and your pattern. Now, as you see here, I have this big size t-shirt. Okay, this t-shirt is like 3 sizes my size, but I'm just showing you here, if you don't have a pattern that you got, which I will be using a jacket pattern, you can use a big t-shirt that you got somewhere in the house. Okay, so if you a size small, perhaps the shirt needs to be long sleeve. Unless you want your snuggie short sleeve, it can be a large. Okay, and I also have a video on how to basically make a pattern out of your own clothes that I will include below. After that, I am going to be taking my blanket, which is my fabric, and I'm just going to be folding it in half and measuring down how long do I want my snuggie. Now, I measured from the top of my shoulder to above 2 inches above my knee. So that's about 35 inches, okay? And if you want to add seam allowance, because you will be hemming the bottom of your choice, depending on the fabric you're using, you can add about 1/2 inch. So instead of it being 35 inches, it's going to be 35.5. After I have cut where my snuggie is going to stop, I got some scraps. And if you know me, you know I'm finna say keep your scraps, okay? Because these scraps are going to be used for our hoodie, and these scraps are also going to be used for our pocket, okay? After that, we are going to be starting out with the front pattern. Now, I said that I was using a jacket pattern. This jacket pattern was big. This jacket pattern was big. So really, perhaps I should have used a smaller size, like a size small rather than medium, but this is a medium and it really fits like large, so that's why I'm using that. But instead of cutting it down the middle to have the front open, I did not do that. For my sleeve, as you see me here doing, I have 2 pieces on top of each other, and I'm just going to cut it just like this rather than cutting it on a fold. I've always cut my sleeves like this because the top curve just always throws me off, and it's just better in my personal opinion, okay? After you finish cutting, you are going to take your front and your back piece, and we are going to get started sewing. Okay, honey buns? Now, you are going to start with sewing the shoulder. As you can see me here doing, I am pinning the shoulder pieces together because this fabric also does slip. So you just want to pin it together and or hold it together. I forgot what the name of those special pins is, but yeah, okay? After you finish sewing the shoulders together, as you can see here, I'm showing you right here, you are just going to open your snuggie up, the front facing the floor or the table, whatever you're putting it on. And then you are going to take your arm and you are going to pin your arm to the snuggie. And of course, if the snuggie is face down, your arm is going to be face down. Now, how I like to pin my arm is I like to start at the middle and then work my way to the end. So you see, I started at the middle and I'm working my way to the end. And when it comes to the other side, I will follow suit. This is the same method that you are going to be using for the sewing machine. You're going to start in the middle and then you are going to sew one side. As you see with me doing here, you're going to start at the middle again and sew to the other side. Okay, so left to right, right to left, right to left, left to right, okay? And that's how you're going to do it. Take your time, no rush. All right, honey buns, as you can see here, I've finished one side of the dress so I can show you what it's going to look like after you finish sewing. We just finished sewing our arm on, and now we are going to sew the arm and the dress together. So as you can see here, I'm pointing to underneath my armpit and going to the left. Then I am pointing to the ends of my armpit and going to the right. This is the same method that we used to sew the arm on, starting in the middle, sewing to the end, then starting in the middle again and sewing to the other end. And I'm showing you there that your seams should be lined up together. So I've already sewed one side. Now I'm sewing the other side. After that, this is what you should have. I'm going to flip the Snuggie inside out because we are done constructing the first half. After that, you are going to take those scraps that I told you about, and now we are going to get ready to do our hoodie and our pocket. The measurements are totally up to you on how you want to do this and the type of fabric that you have and what you have left over. But me, I took this block. I could have kept it like that, but I wanted to be extra. So the block is 18 inches long and 10 inches wide. If you want to keep it like this for the pocket, you surely can. But because I wanted that little curve that be on the pockets, I decided to freestyle. So I found the middle of the pocket and I went in 2 inches. After I finished pinning everything, as you can see here, that yellow pin right in the middle, I am going to create a curve. I'm going to start at the edge, meet to the middle. Once I get to the middle, then I'm going to go to the other edge. And just as trick, if you want everything to be simultaneous, fold it over. Fold it over, cut it on a fold, and go about your day. And as you can see here, I folded it over and we are done. Now, this is not perfect because this fabric, like I said, slips a lot, but it's cute. I felt like it was cute. All we just need to do is hem the edges a little bit to get them right, and we good to go. As you can see me here doing, I'm just pointing. So if you want to hem the edges, if you chose to do this and or not, even if you didn't choose to do it, baby, hem them edges, okay? You are going to take your pocket and you are going to place it on your Snuggie wherever you choose to, how far up, how more in the middle. If you wanted to have it on top of your chest or the top of your head, do what you choose to do. And then we are going to move this to the side to get started on our hoodie. Okay, honey buns, in the description bar below, I have included 2 tutorials on how to create a hoodie. And why I included those 2 tutorials is because they have specific measurements on the length and how long. Now, you don't have to put a hoodie on your Snuggie. It is totally optional, but if you just want to learn how to create a hoodie for the future in general, those are 2 really great videos that break them down for you and their methods. As you can see here, I'm literally using the pattern that I have, which is a jacket pattern, and I used the front to copy the neck and I used the back to copy the neck. All I did for the back of the neck was flip it over. After I flipped it over, I created a line going about 10 inches up. And this is why it's based on what your preference is, because 10 inches up may be a little bit big for your head or too much. Everybody does not like a big hoodie, okay? After I have created both lines, as you can see here, both parallel, both straight, I am now going 3 inches in, 3 inches in, and 3 inches down. And that is also just going to create the curve. Now, the 2 videos in the bottom in the description have more inches and more measurements that you can go from, but it is dependent again on the pattern that you are using, and or if you are doing this from scratch, because a lot of people prefer to do this from scratch. Now, after I created that curve, I am literally going out 1 inch and down 1 inch and making a line. Okay, so I'm just talking you through what I did personally for me, because I did low-key freestyle just a little bit here. After that, that line that you see me creating, I am just going to go straight up. And I'm going to meet my points. After I meet my points to create that curvature that you see in the back of the hoodie, I am going to go about 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches out. And then where you see that I've created this 3 by 3 inches, I'm going to meet the curve. And that is how I'm going to cut my hoodie out. After that, I placed my hoodie on 2 pieces of fabric. Make sure you place your hoodie on 2 pieces of fabric, not cutting it on a fold. And I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'm going to pin it on a Snuggie. After I've cut my hoodie out, what I'm going to do is sew it. I'm going to sew it together so we can then pin it on our Snuggie. I'm going to start at the edge, and then I'm going to stop where you see, and I've stopped the video. It's almost like this is the last point before it goes into that deep curve, but I'm going to stop literally right there. It's like the middle of your back, if you really want to look at it that way. So I'm going to sew from the top point, the top of my head, to the middle of my neck. And as you can see here, that's the point where I stopped at. Now, the same method applies. Putting it in the middle, okay? Put it in the middle. So now I'm going to pin my hoodie in the middle and make sure that my flaps at the ends in the front, which are kind of the skinnier pieces, meet. Here is where I noticed I kind of cut a little bit too much, but it is perfectly fine because that means the ends will overlap each other, which I will show you what that will look like, of course. But as you can see here, one side is about to be on top of the other side, and I'm just going to pin them down. So when it gets to sewing, the same method from middle to end, end to middle, middle to end, middle to end, middle to end, okay? I hope I'm saying it right. Middle to end, middle to end. You will see what I'm talking about when I sew it. But yes, you're going to start at your middle, you're going to go to your end, and then you're going to start at your middle again, and then you're going to go to your other end. And they should be on top of each other. And if they're not on top of each other, right, then they should, both ends should be meeting. So I'm starting at the middle, and now I'm just coming to my end, which is the last piece on top of the other one. After you have sewn them together, you see what I mean here. Even if they come end to end, you are going to take the ends and then you are going to sew them together. Now, honey buns, we have finally sewed our hoodie on, and now we are just going to hem the bottom of our Snuggie. Now, all you're going to do is flip over about a half an inch to or an inch, and you are going to pin it. After you pin it, you are going to sew a straight stitch along that line, okay? Then you are also going to pin your pockets on top and sew a straight stitch along the two sides. Now, if this is a pocket, you got to be able to put your hand in the pocket. So that means we are literally just going to sew the top and we're going to sew the bottom. We're not going to sew the middle at all. Last but not least, how do you like your sleeves? Now, everybody has a different preference on how they like their Snuggie sleeves. Everybody has a preference on how they like their Snuggie sleeves, okay? If you want them big or if you want them a little bit tight. I'm going to do one sleeve regular, and then the other sleeve, as you can see me here doing, I am going to tug it. So I literally just measured my wrist and it came out to about 6.5 inches, but I decided that I am going to be making my elastic 7 inches. So whatever your wrist size is, you can go on to add about an inch or 1.5 inches, depending on how tight you want your sleeve. After that, the same method that we did for the quilt when it comes to pinning to have our casing, we are going to do the same thing. As you saw my hand there doing, I am sewing around and showing you to sew around those pins. Do not sew inside those pins. You sew around it. So you cannot really see my pin here because of all the fuzz and furriness. But where my yellow pin is, I am sewing after it. And you can see it coming up on this sewing machine. I am sewing after the pin. Not before, not inside. I am sewing after that mark. And let me show you what that looks like, because now I can take my finger and go in between that casing. After that, I'm going to take my 7 inches of elastic, and or I meant to say earlier, you can add 1/2 inch. It's up to you, but I am going to take my 7 inches of elastic and I am just going to move it through my casing. After that, I'm going to take my elastic and place it on top of one another and literally do a zigzag stitch and sew it. That's all you're going to do. After you sew it, you're going to take that elastic and push it right back up under that casing and sew a straight stitch across, just like we did with our quilt. And you are going to call it a day. Now, honey buns, I got real festive and I decided I was going to put honey holidays on my Snuggie, because when we go and sit for the holidays with the family and stuff, they're going to ask me what type of holiday it is, and I'm going to say it's honey holidays, okay? But honey buns, this is how she came out. She's so cute and so pink. See you guys on Vlogmas video number 3 tomorrow. Mwah.